Hello? Oh shoot.
She's like peekaboo.
This is supposed to be spooky time, Gerald. Get spooky. Are you ready?
What am I afraid of?
I don't feel like you're afraid of anything. That's the problem. Welcome back to another episode of the Culty Crew podcast. I am your host, Amanda Ray. For those of you that are new here, I escaped a cult when I was 17, almost 18 years old. If you're interested in hearing more about my story, I'll leave it in the description box down below on the YouTube video of this podcast. But today we have Gerald here. Say hi. Well, Val.
Hello, I'm Val.
Val. He is my cousin who is also Colleen and Chanel's full brother. I feel like I say this every time. Allison's half brother. And Jessica and Andrew's half brother. Were you close to them in the order?
Oh yeah.
You were?
Yeah, me and Jessica are the same age. We did all the kind of things that were naughty. We got up on my mom's kitchen counter with a dozen eggs, and we were like toddlers, and we were just like, pop, pop.
I guess your mom and her mom got married the same like year.
It was within a couple weeks. I think their wedding was like a couple weeks apart.
So maybe that's why your families were so close?
Yeah, I think mom really tried, well, both of them, I think all of them was trying to live polygamy, and you're like supposed to help each other out.
Yeah.
So I remember being really close to Allison's mom. Actually, I really remember Allison as a toddler. Like, I thought she was really cute as a toddler.
She was so cute. The biggest blue eyes. I remember I sat next to her on the school bus, and I was like, this kid is so damn cute.
Yeah, Allison's family and Jessica's family were our closest.
Yeah. Did all the wives marry Daniel around the same time, do you think? Is that why? Or
it was the 5th, 6th, and 7th, so probably.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I know this is supposed to be spooky stories, but I mean, I like these stories about like the history of when they were all in the order, all chummy together. This story is for our October episodes, the creepy stories from my cult. I'm running out of scary stories. So Gerald said he had some spooky stories from when he was in the order. This is kind of just going to be a video where we're talking about spooky things and his experience with
like
ghost
spiritual
things.
stuff.
Well, and I've always said this. I think I've said this on all of my Culty Crew podcasts. Not Culty Crew. All of my creepy stories from my cults. I talk about how your family was always so close to the veil.
Is what the rumor was. That's what they said. It came from Grandpa's side.
Because if you watched, the seance was with Colleen, your sister.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other episode of Creepy Stories from my cult was about Room 10, also his sister. So most of my creepy stories that I've had in the order were to do with your family.
Yeah.
Why do you think?
I don't know. But we used to play with spirits when I was at the Idaho farm because I was bored and we couldn't watch TV, so.
How do you do that? Ouija board?
No. This is going to sound completely insane. I don't even know what I believe. Let's start with that. Like today, I don't know what I believe. And like even these experiences that I share here, I experienced them, but I still don't know if I believe them.
That it actually happened?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I have a lot of times where if there weren't witnesses, I would convince myself that it didn't happen.
Yeah, like sometimes I just like, maybe it was just in my head or like because you want to believe so badly or I don't know. But there's still entertaining stories.
Do you want to tell us the Idaho thing or no?
Yeah, we can do the Idaho one. I actually met like this kid that was like a warlock.
So like he was really into Wicca? And
yeah, well
witchcraft?
like, yeah, he claimed he could read your mind. I don't know if he really could. But he was like teaching me different like magic stuff, and he was like, we can scan the area for spirits. So like you close your eyes, you like kind of feel like an aura of where you're at and like your body, and then you just like expand that energy out, and you expand from the room to like. But when I was in Idaho, I expanded to the whole fields because there was nobody anywhere.
So you're expanding your energies?
Yeah, and you just like it's just like a flashlight when you shine in a dark room. You can see them, but they can see you type thing. So then you get like 5 spirits that notice you, and they're like, oh, hello. And then they just like migrate over to where you're at, and you just can ask them things. You ask them things, they give you feelings or like tell you things. But it's weird because you don't talk through your mouth with these ones. It's like
telepathy?
Yeah, it like comes from your brain.
What did they tell you?
Not a whole lot. They literally, the Idaho ones, you wonder like what kind of, if it was just energies, if it was spirits with past lives, if it was demons, like, I don't know what it was. I just had to scan like 5 acres to find anybody. So
you're scanning, and can you tell if it's male or female, or?
You can ask it and it will tell you an answer.
Oh, so it's not transparent?
Yeah, no.
Really?
Like, not at all.
Wow. So
But-
this wicked person taught you how to do that?
Yeah. But anyway, so there's this one time in Idaho
It's always in Idaho.
where me and like one of Paul's boys was talking about spiritual, like spiritsy stuff, and he was like talking about how he could astral project.
If you guys don't know what astral projection is, you should look it up because I got so fascinated with that, the whole concept of astral projection. But long description short, it's an OBE, out of body experience, right?
Yeah. And he was talking about other things, so then I started talking about things, and like the other guys there was like, oh yeah, then what does my guardian angel look like? And like all this shit, and like I would ask, like there was one specific spirit that was just, I don't know if it was bored, but it kept sticking around me. So I would just ask it, and then I would just tell these people, like, and they're like, you can see that? And I was like, pretending like I could see, but it was really just this one energy that was telling me what they wanted to hear, I think.
Really? Did it spook them? Or were they like,
oh yeah, they bought into everything I said, and I didn't know where the answers were coming from. It was almost like it was like the energy they were feeding off or something.
Oh yeah, it could be. Maybe you were just really in tune with the energies. That's where I'm at too. I've had weird experiences where I don't know how they happened, but I'm not going to say, oh, this is probably what happened, you know?
Right. Like, I mean, I have theories, and none of it matters.
It doesn't matter.
None of it matters. This is just Halloween stories.
Have you ever played with a Ouija board?
No, that was the one I would never do because I already was doing naughty things with spirits already.
What does that mean? Naughty?
Well, this one's bad. I should... But we're already talking about it.
We don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. I never played with a Ouija board because well, first I didn't believe in it, and I was like, yeah, I would totally do it. And then I've heard these weird stories I heard a story of your cousins actually, I think it was on the farm, they all were in a circle around a Ouija board, and then, I wasn't there obviously, but someone said they witnessed some like green thing going into one of your brown cousins' bodies, and then all of a sudden he started like slapping the hell out of someone else that was in the circle.
Oh wait, I heard that same story, but it was a different. It was at Washakie with.
Was it Washakie? Maybe I heard it wrong.
Oh, but I wasn't a brown person. Brown brother. Sorry.
Oh, Brown is the last name. Just to clarify.
It was a Kingston.
And the same thing happened.
Same thing happened, but they were like almost like possessed.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
And I got scared when I heard stories like that. And then one of my half brothers, he was like, here's the thing. We have a bubble. Picture like a bubble that protects us. And every time you play with Ouija boards and seances, you're popping that bubble and allowing the things to come get you. And I was like, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, that's why I never did the Ouija board, is because it's like you're inviting whatever's there. Like you're asking for trouble, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like you already felt a lot of it without a Ouija board.
Oh yeah, I didn't
you didn't need it.
I didn't even need any of that, and it was interesting because like Colleen would like do her stuff with. She would like study how to like be like very magical. She'd get books on it and stuff, and I would
When
just
she was
be
in
like,
order?
yeah,
Really?
from the library. We just get a local library. Yeah, I guess I did too. I did like there was one that was about Reiki healing, like whatever.
That shocked me that you guys were able to learn about that while you were in the order, because I never heard about that stuff till I was out.
We went to it was the city library. It wasn't like we asked permission either.
Yeah, you're just like, wow. I wanted to hear that. Are you ready to tell the story? Because I want to.
Which
hear
one?
It. Okay, so Gerald has a really interesting story. Was it the first experience with the spirit?
Yeah, that I can remember because I was a toddler. I don't even know if I knew how to talk yet. At least not like coherent words.
Mm-hmm. Was this at the house at Woods Cross that was shown on Escaping Polygamy?
No.
That house? Oh.
No, we lived somewhere else in Salt Lake. It was downtown near Trolley Square.
Was it by the Dixon building?
Yeah,
Dixie?
kind of. Well, not next, but kind of by it. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't really know where the Dixon building was.
Because part of me thought that Woods Cross home was haunted. And that's why you guys were always seeing spirits there, but I guess it's just you guys.
Yeah, it really is just, I feel like Colleen opened a portal at the Woods Cross place.
I heard stories about that. Like, no one wanted, the younger kids didn't like going in that room.
Yeah, because like someone opened a portal.
And there was always cold in there, they said. It was always cold.
It was always cold in there.
Which is a sign of spiritual activity or something, I guess. I don't know.
We always kept our potatoes in there because they stayed good. because it was very cold in there.
Nice and spooky. Okay, so tell us your first encounter with the spirit.
Okay, so when I was like a toddler, if I got sad or whatever, I would go into my mom's room and open the closet, and this man in a suit would come out, and I would just like talk to him or whatever, or he'd talk to me, and then I wouldn't be sad anymore, and then I'd like, okay, I feel good, and then I'd like leave. But anytime I got sad, I went to that closet. And then later on in life, I seen a picture of Brother Ortel, and I was like, that's my imaginary friend.
That you talked to in the closet?
Not imaginary.
Did you tell anyone?
No.
Did she saw the spirit too?
Yeah, so she's seen it, but she was still like, she was also about the same age I was, so she was just a little girl, and she ran up to my mom screaming, and she's like, there's a bad guy in the closet, there's a bad guy in the closet.
What'd your mom say?
And my mom's like, there's only good spirits here, they couldn't be bad spirits because we're in the order.
And what'd she say? Okay.
Yep, pretty much. Colleen's like, stop screaming after that.
She's like, oh, okay. So they both saw the spirits in the same closet.
In the same closet. And then when my mom was giving birth to twins, on the second child when she was giving birth, right before she passed out, for a brief moment, she's seen like Ortel.
In that closet again?
Yeah, like Daniel's dad.
Yeah. Wow. Was she alone?
No, everyone else was in there. Like she was giving birth.
What's everyone else? Everyone just gets to watch when she's
That was
having
like,
a baby?
yeah, everyone else. It sounds like there was so many people there.
Can you imagine?
That birth, holy crap! There were so many people there.
I always thought about how weird it was that it almost seemed like Thanksgiving every time my mom would have a kid, because everyone would come over, and it's like, how many people need to be in the room? Like, there's only enough room for one hand, right?
Right.
Weird.
I think so. Some of the people that were there were actually just watching me and like Chanel and
to make sure you don't run around and.
Well, yeah, because so that we don't watch the birth, I guess.
Oh, I guess
Yeah,
that's true.
that makes sense, right?
So while she's giving birth to the second twin, she saw him in the closet.
Yeah.
And she told you guys that?
She saw him in the doorway, not the closet on that one, but it was the same room, and she did tell us. She was like, she just knew that she was going to be okay because
he was there.
Daniel's dad was there to protect her.
I wonder if too she may have been in shock, and that maybe that one was a hard one for her. Twins at home birth. That's scary.
And it was interesting because we didn't do, back then they didn't do like the ultrasounds and stuff because they was like very against, so we didn't even know our genders of our children's, or they didn't know the gender.
She didn't know what they were?
No, and she tried to tell people, she was like, I'm gonna have twins, and they're like, I don't believe you. But she's like, well, how come I have a lump here and a lump here? It doesn't make sense. A child couldn't be like.
Your guys' family was so like, I've never had an experience like that, ever. Why do you guys get to have them? Why do you guys get to be?
I think we lived in fairy tale land, so we had to find meaning.
I guess.
Because I don't even know, like I said, I don't know if I believe it anymore.
That's right,
but
yeah.
we probably wanted to believe so hard we manifested it.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, like, experiences like that happen all the time in the order, as far as, like, you kind of give yourself direction.
Right.
Almost.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you fasted a lot in the order.
Oh, I fasted so much. There was this girl I went forward on, and I, like, fasted. It was like at least once a month at the least, and I was like
to marry her or what?
No, to help her find who she's supposed to marry.
Sorry, for those of you who don't know, having direction coming forward in the cult that we came from, you have to have direction from the Lord for who you're supposed to marry, and then pray about it, and then go forward on that means like present yourself for an option for marriage. So you felt like you were supposed to go forward on this girl.
Yeah, and I fasted so much. I was only 109 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was like, I got to the point where I was like, okay, God, I'm going to pray to you right now. And it's getting kind of ridiculous. I'm like dying here.
You better tell me, else I'll die.
So help me know. Am I going to, like, I at least deserve to know if she's going to marry me. Mm-hmm. Like, or when I need to be ready, or when she's going to get married, so that I can be there for that, to support her in her decision.
Right.
And I got an instant, like, answer that like came to me like in my head or whatever, it manifested whatever. It was like, she's gonna get married on November 3rd, and I was like, that's my birthday. She's not marrying me.
Because I would never.
I would never do that. Why would I get married on my birthday?
And then did you tell? Wait, what happened after that? I forgot the story.
Oh, so I was supposed to. She basically was gonna have an answer for me because I already went forward, and she was gonna tell me that weekend at the dance. But she wanted to say yes, but she had to like talk to Paul or whatever. I go to the dance, and she's like, I have to tell you something, and I was like, I already know. There's someone else. I don't think you're supposed to marry me.
What'd she say to that?
She's like, how do you know? And I was just like, I just know. Like, I don't know, what do you say? Like, I just know.
And then the weirdest part is when she got married.
She literally set her marriage she ends up getting engaged to this other guy. And she tells me, I just want to let you know I'm getting married. This is the day. And I didn't tell her nothing. And she's like, you're invited. And then like later when it got closer and I knew she didn't have time to change it, I was like, by the way, that's my birthday. And she's like, no, I can change it. I was like, no, it's good. Now I can be there and support you.
Wow, that is so weird. Did you have any other experiences like that were like almost like seeing into the future?
Uh-huh.
What?
I don't even know how to explain it. I think it was Ortel or that imaginary friend spirit
In the
again.
closet?
But he told me to leave. Like that I couldn't be gay and in the order.
Sometimes
and he was like supportive of it.
I almost wonder if it could have been like your higher self or like
Right.
yourself talking to yourself, you know?
Right. Like I said, I don't know what I believe. It could have been just like my own subconscious just being like, you know what, we're done with this. We're not going to do this.
But I had the experience where it's so weird though, because I've interviewed a lot of people who've left the order and a lot of people almost have direction to leave.
I felt like I did. Like it was like, I need to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not okay with this. And I'm not okay with that. It's like, and I didn't know these things were wrong. And then it's like, yeah, but you know now. So what are you going to do about it? Well, I can't stay here because that's supporting it.
Right.
So I guess I got to go.
I had a very similar experience with that when I ran away. And I was like, same thing, like, you better tell me, God, or else.
Or else I'm dating guys. Oh, wait. Yeah, you too, huh?
Oh, I always liked guys. Was that the same for you or no? No, you didn't know till later.
I had attraction, but I just thought everyone had a choice to make.
That everyone was attracted to everyone?
Yeah.
But didn't you realize that your attraction to men was a little stronger?
Oh yeah, because I didn't ever imagine a girl, but I was like, well, you can't do that. That's naughty.
So you just slap yourself?
Yeah, but like, don't imagine a girl. Okay, imagine a guy. Oh, don't do that either.
Yeah, I was definitely like, I shamed myself all the time with my first dating stories. I like the first boy I kissed, I was like, okay, now you realize what we have to do now, right? And he's like, what? I'm like, we have to get married. He's like, well, yes, of course.
I was like that too on my very first kiss, because I was like kind of corrupted so I assumed outsiders are bad, right? So I was
as
like,
they are. Just kidding.
So I go up to this outsider. I'm like, I'm ready to be corrupted and bad. So will you teach me how to make out? And
You just randomly said that?
we were on a date. It wasn't.
That's even worse.
Can you teach me how to make out? And they did.
And it was nice?
No, they was actually pretty bad at it.
I was better than that.
They taught me the wrong way.
How did you meet him if you weren't an outsider? And how did you start to go on a date with him?
When I was still the order?
Yeah.
I just made I actually was struggling, right, if I'm going to be in the order or not. So I was like, I'm going to make 2 dating sites, God. And whoever hits me up first, the girl or the boy, it's you decide. It's in your hands.
And it was a boy?
Of course. Have you met guys?
Yes, I have, unfortunately. Wow. She's like, well, God has spoken tonight.
So he's going to teach me how to kiss, and the girl can teach me another night.
So your first kiss was a boy. Wow.
Yeah, but my first other thing was a girl.
Oh yeah, if you want to hear more about that, I will leave Gerald's story. He has a 3-part series basically in the description box down below. Yeah, first kiss with the boy, but lost your virginity to a girl.
Yeah.
Well, and you didn't even climax.
No.
Poor Gerald.
It was fine. It was a good workout.
What is that? What is that supposed to mean? And then we got so off topic. This isn't even a creepy story.
We'll go back to him. I could think of some more.
I think we mostly got all of them, no?
There's so many more.
There is?
The Idaho ones go on and on.
Really?
There's a lot more Idaho ones.
Why do you think on Idaho? Is it because that was the time you were talking to that Wiccan?
That's the time that I was there was no TV, there was no radio, what the fuck was I gonna do? We didn't have phones, so, like cell phones or anything back then. So, I literally, what are you gonna do besides talk to spirits?
That's where your mind goes to.
And it was like weird because Paul's boy was like doing the same thing. In fact, so there was one night in Idaho, I was like, so I had this weird ability, and I was always the last person to fall asleep in the house and the first to wake up because I can. Oh, you're gonna think I'm so fucking crazy. I can always like feel energy in the house, and I can tell where they're at in the house, like if another person is present. Basically, I was like, I woke up in the middle of the night with like this weird feeling that there was like 12 people upstairs, like walking around in the living room, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what time is it? So like I go out of my room in the basement and to go upstairs, and there's like this, it's dark so I don't know who it is or whatever, but there's like one person or entity just standing up at the top of the stairs, just not even moving. And so like I go up to them and I'm like waving my hand in front of them and I'm like, hello.
What the hell?
And then like where I feel like the 12 people, then I'm like, it's like in this small space where there's like, you couldn't fit 12 people in there. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like looking in there and I was just like, this is so fucking creepy. And then like it just went back downstairs.
So you just felt like 12 souls in a, can you still feel like, so cause you slept here last night, could you feel I'm in that room, she's over here?
I can definitely feel when a new energy enters the home.
Mm-hmm. Okay, when I was really into like chakras and Reiki and stuff like that, I would have moments where I would come home from work and I'd be like, who was in the house today? Someone was in the house because the energy is different.
You can tell something's off, right?
And one time when I went to Rachel's house, I was like, I literally, the second I got into her house, I felt like someone was in there. And I literally grabbed like a kitchen knife and I was looking under the bed, in the closet, and I was like, did you let a man in this house? A very dominant man in this house? And she's like, how did you know I had an Airbnb here?
Oh my gosh.
Like, that is so weird, because I don't usually, I'm not a very like spiritual person, but at that time in my life I was like, I can feel something and I don't know what it is.
I have an Airbnb story too.
Scary one?
It's about energies. So I had this, actually it wasn't even Airbnb, it was like a roommate. So I was like, I'm gonna rent this room. And like this old guy came with this lady and she's like, I'm gonna help him get a room. He needs help. Can he live here? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So he lives in the basement, right? All night, I'm like, I thought maybe at first he was just smoking, like going up and down the stairs. And but it was the weirdest energy too. It was new people every time. And I was like, how is there so many people coming in and out of my house? Like, what is going on? I don't know if I can handle this. And I didn't even know or want to know what was going on. But I was like, maybe he's selling drugs. Maybe like there's something weird going on here. And every time I like seen him, he was only there for 3 days, long story short. But every time I seen him, he was with a different girl. Like, and I was like, what the hell? Like I was like, this old man's a player. Like,
he was just bringing people home every night.
And then my ex at the time, he's like, because I'm at work, and he's like, this old man and his girlfriend is fighting, like physically beating each other up. And he asked if she could live with us.
The girl that he's beating up?
Yeah, like if they can both stay here. And I was like, we were only looking for like one roommate. Like I don't mind if she stays a night or two, but like we just don't really have the space for more people. I was like, okay, we'll talk to him when we get back. Anyways, I didn't know what was going on, and that's what I went. When I got home, I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't want to know. Here's all your money back. I'm going to put you in a motel room, and goodbye. So I he was pretty good about it. But
well, yeah, because you gave him all his money back.
Yeah, I gave him all his money for a motel, and I was like, I just need you gone. You can't live here with me.
I would be good about that too. Anyone would.
But it was interesting about the energies that I kept feeling, because they felt like very aggressive and like almost like it just was like weird, dirty energy. Come to find out, people was coming to my house looking for girls.
What do you mean?
He was a pimp.
Oh my gosh. How did you find that out?
Because of the guys looking for girls.
Oh, to pay for?
Yeah.
So your house was basically
a brothel.
It was a brothel.
I was like, oh, he's in the motel over at this room. Here you go. Go that way. that way, go away.
That is their energy.
I was like,
there.
that's what that aggressive energy was. Okay.
This was in Utah?
Yeah.
I know I sound stupid, but I always find it so shocking that stuff happens in Utah because I've never witnessed it. It was like one time that I maybe had an inkling that it was happening at this ghetto. Is ghetto a bad word? At this not so good part of town.
I don't know, the ghetto's bad.
Someone got mad at me for saying ghetto. I don't know if that's like a mean or derogatory word, but it was a not good part of town, and I'm pretty sure there was stuff going on there. But I also was like this a lot in Utah, like la 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 la. In my own world. What is it? How do I make it stop? Okay, so sorry, I cut you off when you're talking about the spirits upstairs.
Yeah, so there's like, back to the Idaho story with the 12 spirits in the small space and the creepy dude just down at the top of the stairs. I just go in my room, lock the room, and I like bring in my barrier to a lot closer, so I'm only in the room.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to sense the rest of the house anymore. I decided no more of that. Anyways, next morning, this Paul's boy tells me that he went to Salt Lake last night. Like, he astral projected, and I was like, well, your body was wandering around.
He was?
Well, he was the one that was sitting
At the top of the stairs?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I didn't put that together. So he was at the top of the stairs, but he was apparently astral projecting to you.
Yeah, he went to Salt Lake, and he supposedly astral projected last night. And I was like, whatever that wasn't good, because your body was moving around.
Do you think
and
something
it felt
possessed
really
it?
like bad. It felt like, I mean, how was there that many people in that small space?
Yeah. And I've heard obviously I don't have a ton of experience in this, but I've heard stories of, actually, let's talk about this, because this is this creepy story from the order. Brother Ortel's first wife, not LaDonna, the real original first wife. I worked with her at Advanced Copy. She would tell me these stories about when she would fall asleep, and she would do it on accident, and she would say that her soul would leave her body and she would fly around town. And there was a silver cord attached to her body. And when I left, I researched astral projection. I was like, this is the exact description of what she would tell me.
And she was always fasting too, so she probably really was like...
Mm-hmm. She was very spiritual too. But she didn't understand why her soul kept leaving her body so easily. But she loved it because she would fly around town, she'd go visit people. But then she told me about this time when she was doing her usual astral projection. And she went back to her body, and there was like... dark beings surrounding the body, like waiting almost as if to try to get inside. So after that, it scared her so bad that she tried so hard to always stay in her body forever, because she was so afraid that someone could possess her body because she's...
I wonder if she's the one that told me that you don't do that. Like, you don't astral project because the demon could take over, because I always thought that you can't do that. Even when I met this kid, I was like, that's not good. Why'd you do that?
Yeah, maybe she did, but like she wasn't anti it until that happened. And that's the thing is, like, I mean, I don't know 100% when I believe in it, but I do know that when I was researching it, everybody's story was the same with the silver cord being attached to the body. And there's apparently a Bible verse that says, at the end of your life, when the silver cord is cut. Have you ever heard of that? Mm. And it's an interesting thing to, like, ponder, I guess. Have you ever astral projected?
If I did, I was well, I have a weird memory as a toddler. That doesn't make any sense. I literally was like spinning in the sky, watching my body sleep on the floor. Like, How does that work?
I don't know. I've heard a lot of stories like that, though. I even watched this documentary of this guy that was like dying in the hospital, and he comes back and he talks about how someone's shoe is on the ceiling, like on the very rooftop of the hospital, because when he was dying, his soul like went through all the floors of the hospital, and then they went and they found it on the top of the...
That's so weird.
Super weird. All these weird stories that makes you like think. And then I watched this documentary that talked about this woman who they were like, we don't believe that you can astral project. So then they were like, okay, if you can, then you can read the serial number on the satellite in space. And then she apparently did.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I was like, what? But who knows? Who knows? We don't know. But I like to think about it. We were talking about past lives too earlier, and like how interesting all of that, the whole concept of past and future lives is. And if that's real, I feel like if past and future lives is real, we must have contracts, knowing that we're getting into because unless it's just a never-ending cycle of lives that we can't control.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I have some of this stuff I'm like, is this because I believe it, or is this because someone told me this shit? You know what I mean? But I definitely had a parent that believed that we had contracts, and if you, like, for example, if you killed yourself early, you would come back because your time here is not done.
Like you have to come back.
You have to come back, but you might come back in a worse form.
In the order they would talk about, I remember it being like against the 10 Commandments because thou shalt not kill, and killing yourself is, you know, against the 10 Commandments. But I don't know. I'm to the point where I'm like, I don't believe in anything anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to do.
I know what I like the ideas of, like the 7 chakras. I like that. I like, you were even saying like the rules of a Satanist.
Oh, I don't know if you know this Satanist church, but it's actually not bad if you look it up.
I always had a negative outlook on Satanists until you told me actually what they believe.
Yeah, there's 7 rules of Satanism.
Everyone who is a Satanist believes in these 7 rules.
Yeah, but it's basically like good things. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason.
I think that's where vegetarians come from in the Satanist culture, and pagans are vegetarian because of they believe similarly.
But like all these 7 beliefs are good. Like one's body is invulnerable. Wait, what does this say?
Inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. So
no rape, because Satanists don't believe in it.
So basically, only be in control over yourself, not try to be in control over other people. I want to hear how you say it.
Inviolable.
Inviolable. Never to be broken, infringed, or dishonored.
Wow.
That's a good word. I'm going to remember that.
Inviolable.
Strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason. So, which is interesting that a Satanist would believe in. It just sounds so weird. The freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend, to willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego one's own. So basically, if you're trying to take someone else's rights away, then it's like taking your own away, right?
Yeah.
I like these rules. So they don't believe in a heaven and a hell, they just believe in these 7 rules?
Yeah, these 7 rules.
Wow. I honestly feel like if you follow these rules, you will have a happy life.
Well, you'll be a decent person anyways.
Yeah, if not nothing else, there's that. Do we have anything else we want to add? I kind of like that we ended on Satanism.
I hope I didn't like butcher that for a Satanist.
No, I think you did good. That's all we will be talking about in this episode. If you want to hear more about Gerald's story, I'll leave those linked down below. We also he's on an episode of Culty Cup of Coffee. I'll leave that link down below, episode 45, as well as your Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say go message him and harass him, but he may respond to your comments if you message him or if you comment on this video down below. So that's Val Snow. And thank you for being a part of the podcast today. Do you have anything else to say?
Nope, just thanks for listening. And remember, I'm not like saying I believe any of this. I don't know what happens.
Neither of us are. We're just telling you our own experiences and the weird things that are going on in our brains with what has happened in our past.
Well, in the cult.
Exactly. We were literally talking about this earlier. He was like, when I left the order, it was like closing the door to Narnia. And it really does. It feels like when we both felt this way in the order, like it is like being crazy. If you look at everyone else and you think they're all crazy, then you feel crazy because you're not on their level of crazy.
Yeah.
When you're surrounded by crazy people, then you feel crazy for not fitting in with them. Like sanity is insanity. And it was kind of cool to hear him say that too. Because I'm like, thank God I wasn't the only one.
Not at all.
But because I do this as a living, I don't feel like I can ever fully close that Narnia door.
Oh, I'm fine with it. I can open it, go there, and then come back. And I'm like, I have a time limit. I set it so that I can like manage.
We'll explore Narnia for 30 minutes and then we're done.
Mm-hmm. We can go to the dark places and then we're going to go back to reality.
I need to do that more. Well, alright. That was Val. Thank you for watching and we'll see you in the next episode of Culty Cup of Coffee. Bye.
Bye.